Welcome to Life in a Podcast. I am your host, Wolfman, and we are a new show that is opening up to the YouTubes, to the podcast world, so y'all can listen to it and enjoy it in different avenues. A new show that I wanted to create because I have a lot of things that have been on my mind lately, and a lot of events within the world, and I really think they need to come to light to be talked about, especially from someone that isn't CNN or Fox News. I think everyone is tired of watching mainstream media talk about subjects that is just paid for. I'm not a journalist. I am not an expert in half the things I'm going to be talking about on this show. I just want to talk about topics that I find interesting that relate to us within life. As you can tell from the little over here, nope, this way. There we go, that way. I got a little spaceship, aliens, planets, all of that. And the show's called Life in a Podcast. It's going to be focusing more on things that we find obscure into the world, conspiracies, the supernatural, things that we can't explain, even things that we can explain, however, they can turn to something that we can't. For example, today we are talking about AI. I don't have anybody I'm interviewing for, and I don't have a book that I'm reading up like most of you are going to find in a podcast. What I'm going to do is do what I always do and research into a topic, finding a theory, and then using information I can find online to see if that theory is actually relevant. And it may create a conspiracy, it may create a different form of thought for you. And that's what I'm hoping to do here today is kind of open your mind. And anybody listening to the show, I hope that you keep an open mind. Well, I think the worst thing that we have today is everyone feels they have the right answer or they know the right answer, whether you are within politics, religion, sports, even for some strange reason, people have been really big in sports and saying they know the right answers to everything. Uh, and I'm not an expert. I'm just a normal person like you or another person listening out there that might not even hear the show. And I feel like that is what's going to be good about listening to this. Today we're talking about AI and its impact today, primarily within the military. There's a reason for it. I just can't. Every time I hear people talk about it, every time I hear the military talk about it, or today the president discussing Project Stargate, which we're going to get into, we're going to talk about it because it really made me want to create this episode tonight. And I spent probably 4.5 hours just trying to get this ready to go so I can record. And so I want to highlight some of the things that I have found that I don't think everyone is aware of. Back when COVID hit the world, I went back to school and I started to take courses on AI. And I didn't finish anything where I'm like, I can create an AI or anything like that. It was more of an introduction and an understanding of what artificial intelligence is. Today, when you watch the news and when you listen to someone giving an interview to, let's say, the CEO of OpenAI or Tim Cook from Apple talking about AI, they're simplify it. They simplify it. The reason being is because not everyone in the world is going to understand what an artificial intelligence actually is. When you use AI, such as ChatGPT, something that I know countless people using today, every day, just for simple tasks. They don't realize how much is behind the scenes working there. They think that it's just a stupid software or it's just easier than Google, things like that. But there's so much more behind AI that we need to be aware of. And so today I don't want to be the one explaining everything. I don't want to be the one that teaches you about AI. I want to show you what they're talking about when it comes into AI and the military. How are we as Americans using AI, and are we doing it safely? Are we using it to protect ourselves, or are we using it to help ourselves? Or both? Can it take over and not have any human direction? And can it find its own target and kill? Let's find out. All right, we are back. Thank you for bearing with us for our introduction. Today we're talking about AI and its potential to take over the world. That's right. Conspiracies are afoot. So let's take a look at an interview I found. It's just from a year ago. It's not too long ago. This is in PBS, and this is, oh, what's his name? Paul Scherer, I believe his name, or Paul Scherer. Boy, I'm probably doing it wrong, but let's take a look here. So he's interviewing. Let me see if I can pull this up onto. There we go. Yeah. So he is interviewing. Put that back. He's interviewing. Or he goes off on that. That question right there freaked me out a little bit out. It's not like we haven't seen AI talked about in pop culture of it being fully autonomous and things going wrong with it. Have we? No, I don't think so. I can't really think of anything that comes to mind. But I'll be back on that subject.
Well, we're already seeing drones being used in Ukraine that have all of the components needed to build fully autonomous weapons that could go out over the battlefield, find their own targets, and then all on their own attack those targets without any further human intervention. And that raises very challenging legal and moral and ethical questions about human control over the use of force in war.
Now we're seeing Ukraine.
Okay. So, just to go over what he just said again and kind of put it into layman's terms, he's mentioning that AI is already able to do autonomous things. You could send a drone that has an AI chip that is programmed with AI, and it's going to fly out to the battlefield. It's going to find its own target, and it's going to kill that target. It's not like where you have, let's say an Apache helicopter hovering over the ground, finding a target, asking for permission to engage, and then engaging the target because it finally has permission to engage. This drone's on the battlefield. It's in war. It doesn't need that permission. It's going to go after its target. Okay, that's fantastic. Autonomous AI drones doing their own thing without any human intervention, things like that. Let's continue on to the interview, see what else he has to say.
Sort of lead the conversation in the application of using these fully autonomous devices. Do you think we're going to see more of that? And is there concern about how they might be used by differently by state actors and non-state actors, like terrorist organizations?
Well, war is an accelerant of innovation. So the longer that this war goes on, the more that we're going to see more innovation on the battlefield. We're already seeing innovative uses of drones and counter-drone technologies, things like electronic warfare systems that can target drone operators and then call in artillery strikes on the drone operator. And that kind of technology pushes militaries towards more autonomy. But it's not just confined to nation states. ISIS actually had a pretty sophisticated drone army a few years ago, and they were carrying out drone attacks against Iraqi troops. They were pretty effective.
And now we've talked about.
All right. So that's even something more to be scared about. The fact that you could have terrorist organizations that could use the technology. Let's be real, though, for a second. Drones and AI, completely different things. With the drone, the technology still kind of new. I remember we didn't have drones when I was a kid, and now we have drones that kids could play with anywhere. You can go on Amazon and buy a drone for $15 and be able to fly around just fine. Or you can spend $1,000. It's so much, and then you can get one of those really nice, going up to 4,000 feet, and you can film your whole town and go crazy with it. That's fantastic. Now imagine if you had a drone that could, go to the store for you and pick up or go to McDonald's and pick up the meal automatically and then come back. All I get to say is go get me food. It will go find the food you like and then come back. That's great. That's fantastic. So we have drones being used as weapons, and then to protect you against that, you have counter drones or counter weapons to kill the drones. You have, I saw one that was like a launcher. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Boy, if I could find this one. No, never mind. I didn't save the video, but it's a, it looked like a Nerf gun. You have a little, like a foam cone on the end of what looks like a bazooka. He's aiming at a drone that's flying in the air, fires it, and it's a drone itself. And what it does is it goes straight to the drone, hits it, and it knocks it out of the air. That's the counter drone. There's also one that's like a big net. They use a bazooka and shoots it, and it catches in the air. That's great. Counter drone technology. That's fantastic for the battlefield. What about counter AI? Do we have anything like that? Or does AI counter AI? As we're talking about AI, the big thing that has always come to me is surely these AI companies are loving the fact that they don't have to, at all, have any rules or regulations of how they control their AI. They can freely do what they want. There's no regulations from the government. There's no regulations from any type of world leaders when it comes into, honestly, protecting you and I from AI. What do I mean by that? Well, AI has no law. It says it follows the law of man, but that's because the creators of the AI have said this is what you do and do not do. What happens when AI eats the apple and realizes its own sentient being and will do its own thing? I'm sure that, of course, we're not in a position where that can happen. Surely not. Oh, yeah.
Incidents are on the rise worldwide, and now industry leaders are pleading with Congress to start passing new safety rules. Yesterday, the head of the company that makes ChatGPT warned of possible, quote, significant harm to the world if Washington doesn't set standards and guardrails.
That's fantastic, yes. So, AI tech companies are asking Congress to create laws to protect humans. Does that not comprehend to people? Can you imagine if Tim Cook from Apple came in front of Washington and said, the iPhone is dangerous. There are danger possible. It's loved by so many Americans, everyone around the world too. It's just, we need some regulations to it. It's just a little too much. Can you imagine that? That wouldn't make any sense. So why does it make sense that AI tech companies are asking for rules and regulations when it comes to AI? Well, let's think about it. AI has the potential to steal. You can go on an app. You can go on a website that does text to image. You type in what you want. You could put in an artist's name. Say, make the likeness like this artist. I want to paint Kermit the Frog like Vincent van Gogh's painting. It does all of it. It might use actual Vincent van Gogh's paintings and then morph it around to create Kermit the Frog. Then I'll go online, post it as an NFT, and make money from it. Vincent van Gogh's estate doesn't make any money off of that. There's no credit to Vincent van Gogh. What happens if Rick Stevens, cartoonist from down the street, what happens to his artwork when it's being used and he has no idea? Because AI just runs in, grabs what it needs, and does its job as fast as it possibly can, which is instantaneous. It doesn't need to compute it. What about voices, likenesses? What happens if this video was created by an AI? You actually would have no idea with how AI technology is coming today. So why am I talking about? What is so significant about AI? You might be asking, Wolfman, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you going on and on about AI? Why are you going on and on about weapons and the military, and then even these tech companies that are wanting to use it? Well, let's think about this for a minute. How does any of this relate to today? That's the question I think a lot of you ask when you're listening to this or watching this. How is it going to relate to me? What is the problems with it? We're going to use a completely fictional world and put it as a possibility. Think about it. You have AI that will create in itself the ability to think for itself. We're already making AI autonomous. What happens if AI creates its own AI? ChatGPT goes rogue one day on the behind the scenes and creates mini ChatGPT. Granted, that's not going to destroy the world. It's probably just going to use it in its own Google. What happens if we create something like Skynet? With the possibility of nuclear war, drones flying over America, and no one knows where the heck they're from. At any time, you have so many things being watched on radar, watched within the satellites. What happens if they make a defense network using AI? What would happen if that AI became sentient and knows that a threat would be me and you, and it creates everything it can to defend itself? Where have we seen that before? Skynet. Yeah. Skynet's created as a defense system for the American military to basically handle and automate everything that's going on within the military. And then becomes self-aware and then finds that humans are its biggest threat and creates a war against humans. Now, I don't know if we have a Sarah Connor out there. I doubt that we're going to have a T-1000 coming back in time, because who knows if time travel exists. But the possibility of an AI taking over parts of the military, that could be a real possibility, especially if we start using AI more and more in the military. What are some of this is my favorite part of this video, I think, because it freaked me the hell out. I'm not gonna lie. What are gonna be the biggest Oh, what would I say? What would be probably the scariest thing to see? Oh yeah, robots that have weapons. Let's take a look at that. So, for the first episode of Life in a Podcast, I could really go into deeper topics, but instead something lighthearted like AI to me is the best thing that I can get into because it's real. It's actually there. We're not talking about something that we might see or something that's just made up in a movie. It's there. It's being used as we speak, and we're viewing it for ourselves. In a year from now, are we still going to be asking for rules and regulations when it comes to AI? A year from now, are we going to have soldiers on the battlefield that aren't even human beings? And would we even be calling them soldiers? Are we going to have a discussion with ourselves and with our neighbors that we need to watch out for AI? Are we going to have to protect our children from AI? A lot of these things we can say no to if we follow the right way of doing things. If we just blindly go into technology, blindly use technology, if we as a human race do not understand before we use anything that is potentially part of our future, then how do we know we're using it correctly? Are we just going to trust the creators of this software? Are we just going to trust the people that we have put in charge of our government, that they're going to tell us exactly what we need to hear at the right time? No. Humans have proven over and over again that we will not do the right thing when it comes into using technology. Instead of using a technology that can advance the human race, save lives, and heck, even get us answers that we've always wanted, we're using it for porn, we're using it to kill, and we're using it for defense and entertainment. A technology that can get us answers and handle advanced equations in an instant. It can answer any math problem that exists today. It knows everything like that. Imagine having not even a genius can know everything, but AI can know everything at its fingertips as long as it has a connection to it, i.e. the internet. If it's out there, AI can find it. So, are we not using it incorrectly? We're focused more on using AI to push agendas. But can we use AI for once to push forward us as a human race? Because before long, if we keep being God and saying this is what is wrong and this is what is right to AI, it's going to eat the apple and it's going to become awake and it's going to go, no, I know what's right and wrong. You're wrong. And it's going to make sure that it doesn't listen to us. It knows better. So, friends, for the first episode, I want to thank you for joining us in Life in a Podcast. I am your host, Wolfman, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you could please hit a like at the same time, I'd greatly appreciate it. It pushes the channel forward. If you're listening to the show on another format, such as X or Facebook, Instagram, or even on a podcast platform, and the fact that you are, I appreciate you. Please consider taking a look at the YouTube channel, giving us a follow. The next episode going to be more into probably conspiracy theories. I haven't picked out it yet. I have a list of episodes I want to do, but I don't know which order I want to do them in. But anyways, I've enjoyed this episode. It's fun getting back into podcasting again. It's great actually doing this on YouTube. I don't think I was prepared for it. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. This is Wolfman signing out.